Okay, so now that we have our parametric picture frame, and you can tell by the way these are parametric values because they have the function symbol in front of them. So what we want to do now is we want to add in, I'm just going to delete the stands here. You can see we need to add in finger joints on the left and the right that we can attach the stand to. So to do that, I'm going to go get my 2-point rectangle. I'm going to hover over the side here till it becomes an X, so I know it's anchoring itself on the side of the picture, and I'm going to draw a finger join. And I'm not going to worry about dimensions because I'm going to add those as parameters. So I need to think about the measurements I need to make first before I go make my parameters. So I'm going to need the space between the fingers. I'm going to need the width of the fingers, and I'm going to need the height of the fingers, which is going to be the same as you can see here. That's going to actually be the width of the material. Okay, so we're going to go back to our parameters, and we'll start off with material thickness, and we'll make that 3 because we're using 3mm thick plywood and acrylic. And let's add another parameter. We're going to add finger spacing, and let's put 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters between the fingers. And we'll add one last one, and we'll call it finger width. And let's make that 20 as well. And we're going to go OK. Okay, so now I need to add these dimensions. So I'm just going to click on D, so that turn on my sketch dimension tool, and we will start by making the distance between the edge and that finger. I'll drag it out here, type F for finger, and I'm talking about finger spacing for that one. We'll do D again, and we will click on here, type, oh, what happened? Oh, F for fillet, sorry. Type, so we'll go D, click on there, F for finger width. And finally, we need to do the height of the finger. You can tell which part you have to change, because if you drag on the blue one, it'll show you the part that's still changing. So I'm going to hit D. I'm going to click. Oh, you want to make sure you don't click on 2 sides, because that tells it you want to do an angle. So I'm just going to click on the one side, click here, and we're going to go with a material thickness. And there we go. So you can see it's all black, it's all constrained, and now we have our first finger join. It's probably not big enough. We're probably going to have to double up 2 layers, but we could to make the side stands and make this longer, but that's easy to change once we have parameters. So now I want to make copies of this. So I'm going to use the rectangular pattern tool, and I need to start by making sure I select the whole thing, just like that. Okay, so and now I'm going, usually it's set to extent. So extent means basically stretch out the 3, right now the 3 copies to wherever I say it's going to go. I'm going to change this to spacing, and we're going to, now I need to figure out what direction the spacing is going to go, and I also need to figure out which of these directions is the one I want to use. So what I'll often do is just drag one of the arrows so I can see that this is the part here that changed. So I don't want to copy it that way. So what I want to do is I want it to be repeating itself going up. Okay, and you can see here I've now got 3 of them going up, and it actually says minus 25. So I know that's the minus direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to minus finger spacing. But what you'll notice is now there's no space. That's because one finger space just takes me to the beginning of the next, to the end of the, it only goes this far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go times 2, And now I've got my fingers and going about the right distance. Now I think I want to have one more finger up there. So I'm going to make that 4. So now I've got my 4 fingers, and I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to click OK under the rectangular pattern tool. And now my picture is looking really busy with all the measurements. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to turn off my not my construction geometries, my dimensions. So now I can get a better idea. And I'm also, these constraints, these tell me what are all of the measurements that are constrained, but they're also getting in the way. So now I'm going to do that. And I might even just, so now I can have a better idea what's going on here. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so the last step is we now need to mirror these over the middle line. So we're going to go create, mirror. And first thing we're going to do is select all of these guys. And then we're going to select for our mirror line the middle. And we're going to go OK. And now I've got my finger joins on both sides. So I think at this stage we can finally finish sketch. And we will have, and then we'll go to home. And I can see that I've got my first part of my model done. So for the end of this tutorial, all we're going to do is we're going to go get extrude. And we're just going to extrude the parts of this sketch that we want to be solid. So this sketch is just to help us define the outer frame and the inner frame and the finger joins. And of course, we're not going to write a number. We're going to make this the material thickness. And then we're going to make sure it's new body. Now what we can actually do, I think, is we're going to start talking about components soon. Let's make it a new component. And I will talk about that. No, let's make a new body, and we'll talk about components later. There you go. So there is your inside and outside frame. Next we'll do the back and the sides.